What up, fellow reefers? This is Jim from Saltwater Reef channel. Wanted to kind of give an update on what's been happening since the saltwater ick outbreak, and which I think ended up turning into marine velvet. So, out of all those fish you saw that I had, I lost about 2/3 of them. Yeah, pretty expensive ordeal for me. I was losing, right after the video, I was losing about 3-4 fish a day, and it continued for about a week. I did rescue a number of fish and were able to move them into what I had was my QT tanks and save about, I think it was about 12 fish that I saved out of the whole group. Yes, the gem tang was saved, so Hope is still in the tank and doing fine. But the real sad part was I lost my blonde naso and my big purple tang. I've had these fish for almost 10 years. They're actually were the first two fish that I had put into my saltwater tank when I first started my saltwater tank back up. So that was pretty devastating to me, and nobody likes to talk about their failures, but part of reefing everybody goes through is that there are some failures in this and you feel like wanting to give up. It took me a little while to kind of recoup from that, decide what I wanted to do, if I wanted, how I was going to change my QT process, and what was going to happen new for the tank as I started back up. Over the period of time, I've made few changes. We've added bigger skimmer, added biopellet reactor to help with some of the algae that you saw in the tank, adjusted the lights so they now match more of my frag tank spectrum. I used a Senai to help me monitor that and adjust the lights so the lighting looks almost like my frag tank. We are now putting fish back in the tank, and there's quite a few in there now. We took about 2 months off, and we added one of the harder fish that everybody is to keep. I added it first just to see what was going to happen, and that was the Achilles tang. He's nicknamed Troy in the tank, and he's been in the tank almost the longest. I was never able to catch the flame wrasse or the golden basslet out of the tank. They've been in the tank since through the whole crash, have never seemed to have a problem, and seem to be doing just fine in the tank. The Achilles was in the tank for about 2 weeks, didn't show any signs of any problems, and so then I started adding fish slowly back in, and the gem tang went in, and then some of the other fish from the original batch of fish that I saved did go back in. So now we are actually starting to add corals and fish back in. The tank seems to be doing really well. Do I have ick all the way out? I don't think so. I think there's still a little bit of ick, but marine velvet, I think we've killed that off and don't seem to have any more issues with that. Fish are all doing happy, eating, swimming, having fun. So I know that's probably what most of you want to see, is how the tank's doing. So let me switch the camera and we will let you see how the tank is doing now, okay? Okay, so this is the tank as it sits now. Like I said, corals are starting to go in, fish are in there. I believe there are 20 fish now in the tank, and all seem to be doing quite well. The current in the tank is, I've made a little bit of adjustments in some of the pumps, the amount of flow, and where they're pointing at, and really I'm pretty pleased with the amount of flow. When I feed the fish are, the food stays in the middle of the water column for quite a while, giving the fish ample time to eat and graze. I'm going to start adding gobies next. I got to figure out how to get food down to them, but they will start to get food. Like I said, there's coral starting to go in, so you can see some hammers. I'm playing around with a sea fan right here. Seems really enjoying it. As you can see, it's got its polyps all out. It's non-photosynthetic, meaning that it's not going to use the algae or the light to grow, but it also means that it will still put the polyps out during the day, which you can see. You just got to put phytoplankton and other foods in the tank for it. As you can see, the fish seem real happy and swimming around. Picked up some Bartletts, really enjoying them and their activity. Adding some hammer corals, frog spawns, and Duncans, and we'll go to the backside, there's some other big corals, some other hammers going on, feather dusters, and things like that going on in the tank. So we have roughly about 2,000 gallons coming out of each of the nozzles on each side of this tank an hour, and an MP40 sitting right here, and there is a gyre on the other end that points at the top of the tank that brings the flow right across back to the top and back to the overflow that is right up here between the two power heads, or the two nozzles. So the flow is pretty circular. It comes down across the bottom and the sides, and then back up through the top, across the top of the tank. So as you can see, really there's hope. Survived the marine velvet. So hope is getting pretty good size now. She just about, not quite the size of my hand, so. And then from the other side, from the end, again, this is 34 inches wide right here, so almost 3 feet. And that's the gyre that pushes the water back across the top of the tank and towards the filter. And let's see, I've got a meat coral, big kind of bluish color meat coral, a Trachyphilia, and a couple of Ghanies in here that are starting to get used to it. Another frog spawn kind of going on. A couple other sea fans, one piece that broke off, the orange one, a blueberry that didn't do very well, an elegance, and we got another sea fan with gold tips, and another frog spawn, and then there's one more frog spawn right there on that ledge. Like I said, we're just starting to add the corals to the tank, trying to get all the trace elements and everything, and the calcium and magnesium and alkalinity all into the right zones. We were a little low last week. We added some more dosing to it, and so things seem to be moving right along with the tank. And I figured I'll show you feeding. I like that all the fish are real happy. They don't hide. They come right up to me, to the front of the tank, and watch where I am and what I'm doing. That's probably because they want to be fed. These guys, I feed the tank about 5 times a day. Everything from pellets to nori to a little bit of frozen food. I don't really feed flakes that much. So give me a second and I'm going to feed them one more time, and I'll show you the movement of the water as the food enters the water and how it gets blown around. Okay, so we're going to put the food in the tank. As you can see, a lot of the food stays suspended in the water column and will get blown down and spread around the tank. And it gives all the fish plenty of time to feed. Even food for the corals. but I'm kind of worried about gobies and things. I'm hoping that there's enough that floats towards the bottom that they'll be able to grab it. There's still more fish to come. Like I said, there's about 20 fish in here right now. I've got a number of other fish over in the QT tanks waiting to come in here. There's going to be probably easily another 25 to 30 fish that will go in this tank. I like a busy tank. I'm an avid scuba diver with over 300 hours of bottom time, and I like a busy tank like I see when I see the reefs on the ocean. Just got to keep all the parameters in check to do that. So I wanted to thank everybody for coming and watching and hanging out with a video. Please like and subscribe. I have some ideas for some more videos coming up for everybody to see. We're going to talk about some of the planning of these big tanks and how I went through about deciding on fish that I wanted and stocking it and everything. So please, like I said, please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching the video. Have a good day. Bye-bye.